What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to talk about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and many tickers out there, break down the technicals for them very briefly, and also talk about some tweets from Elon Musk himself, which are very important for Tesla's future. Before I break things down about all this information, though, before I talk about what's going on with Tesla stock, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Webull link. The offer ends very soon. If you deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Anyways, let's talk about Tesla and the whole market. So in my video from yesterday, I mentioned to you guys that it's very likely that Tesla's going to see some upside approaching its earnings for the 19th. In case you missed it, we're going to likely see Tesla, in my opinion, reach at least the 290s, around 295 or so, or up to about $300 a share, approaching earnings on Wednesday. Now, that may sound like crazy, but you have to remember that the large majority of the time, Tesla tends to run up very nicely approaching its big events. And we're likely going to see a big surge in volume as volume is starting to increase and lots of buyers are starting to step in again. We also saw a lot of short covering over the last couple of days on Tesla, which helped it pump a bit. And despite the fact that SPY and the Nasdaq and etc. closed kind of red, Tesla closed quite green. So we know we knew all of these things over the last couple of days, and I've been talking about this for quite a while. But after earnings, I also mentioned to you guys, I don't know which way Tesla will go. We're likely going to gap either up or down by the time we open on Thursday. It's going to be the day after earnings, and we'll just have to wait and see which way Tesla goes. Their margins could cause some downside alongside some concerns for their guidance. Or if things go as planned and Tesla does very well, surprisingly, then, once again, this thing will continue to soar. And Tesla's a stock that's no joke. It could just absolutely annihilate many of shorts. It is known for doing that. So we'll have to wait and see on this. But I didn't really get a chance to talk as much about SPY and a couple of other things. And also, I haven't talked about Elon Musk in quite a while. It's been many weeks since I last talked about what he put on his Twitter page. I didn't really see anything that significant or that massive, but I just want to mention a couple of things. So Elon Musk did retweet this, that the Model Y RWD is going to be available in South Korea. This is important for Tesla because Tesla is continuing to expand and get its brand all over the world. Tesla is available in Korea. Throughout Asia, we're seeing more Teslas being bought, and also we're going to see Tesla continue to grow in many parts of Europe as Tesla's looking at more gigafactories to start. A gigafactory in Malaysia, for example, would be a very, very good idea in my opinion. I think Tesla could use that to their advantage, the affordability over there, and also the access to labor that's more affordable, getting better resources, and just building potentially a battery pack over there could be very, very useful for them alongside a gigafactory. That's a potential place. More places in Asia. We're seeing another one being built in Indonesia. So this is once again good stuff for Tesla. You're getting more exposure in Asia, and I do see more growth to come in the markets over there. To add on to this, there was this news that came out from Whole Mars Catalog. They mentioned that the steering wheel nag is actually making things more dangerous at this point. It will be history soon. And this is very important because this person mentioned that they think their biggest request for the FSD right now would be the steering wheel nag to be gone. Of course, it needs to be safe, but in cabin, camera is really good. And this one simple change would make the FSD much more enjoyable. So Elon Musk mentioned that the update is coming very soon, and he believes it's also very essential for them. So that's some good news for Tesla. If this does really improve the product whatsoever, that's great for them, and they're constantly trying to improve, which is awesome. Elon Musk also talks about how he's preparing for his big match with Mark Zuckerberg, which is pretty funny. He may even use some One Punch Man techniques. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, Elon Musk also tweeted about this. He said he might wear this outfit at the Coliseum, where he plans on possibly facing off against Mark Zuckerberg. And besides that, I didn't really see anything else too significant about Tesla or anything else mentioned about Tesla for the past 24 hours by Musk. There were just a couple of tweets, and that's about it. There's also this news right here. This person known as Not Jerome Powell tweeted that Jim Cramer on Meta's Threads launch, basically Jim Cramer was saying that whatever Twitter could do, Zuck could do better. And then the news came out that, Meta's Threads have its daily users down about 20% since Saturday. And on top of that, the user time spent on the platform is down 50%. And Musk responded by saying, Cramer's inverse curse is still strong. So very, very funny stuff. I just wanted to mention that. Anyways, now let's talk about the charts and get serious. What's going on with SPY and all these other things? Looking at SPY, we got a nice pump up to about this 451 area, got a nice rejection after forming this divergence. And after this thing rejected, came right back down to our support around this 449.5 area, bounced off that temporarily, then continued to downtrend as time went on. So it is starting to look a little bit weak on the smaller time frames. But if we zoom out now and we look at the 4 hour and also on the daily, we have another very interesting looking setup. There is this bearish divergence on SPY. And if we do get a rejection off 450, which is where we tend to have strong resistance, we have these gaps down here. There's one around 446. There's also another one down a little bit lower. There's also one around like the 442 area. Could SPY start to come down to fill these gaps? We're also about to get a 4 hour bearish cross on the PPO. And when that happened, the last time this happened, we saw SPY drop from 444 all the way down to about 436. So it dropped about $8 before rebounding. So there is a chance we could see more downside on SPY. The odds are starting to favor that a bit. But this is going to be heavily dependent on the bank earnings coming out for Monday. I already went over which banks in my last video. I will talk more about them on Sunday. We have bank earnings coming out for Monday and Tuesday. And then for Wednesday, we have like Tesla and IBM and a couple of others. And we have some very big earnings for Wednesday. It's going to be one of the biggest days of the week for earnings and for the entire market. So just be ready for that. But technicals are looking a little bit weaker on SPY. It looks like it may start to sell off very, very soon. We have these unfilled gaps down here, a bearish divergence, and a potential crossover. And the stochastics are actually showing us the same thing. If I look at the stochastic real quick, I mean, it's just suggesting the same thing, something very similar at these levels. Looking at something else like Aapl, this is still very, very sideways, not really doing a whole lot. But the thing about Aapl is it is holding above the 50 EMA. So far it's trying to hold up. We might just see this thing remain kind of tight for the time being. After making this big move to about 196, it's been declining a bit. Now it's trading kind of sideways. Still very indecisive in a direction. If it does break above 191.7, then this could actually help the market pump up just temporarily before any other moves to the downside. It's going to be dictated by earnings. If it breaks below 189.77, we could see it come all the way down to 187.5, then 186.6, and 185 after that. Now, from the 4 hour time frame, it's looking like it's losing some momentum at these levels, and we're starting to see it slow down a little bit. There is a chance that we could see Aapl break below 189 and start slowing down, but we have to watch for confirmation, which would be a break below the 50 EMA to know for sure if Aapl is going to likely start sinking. There's not enough confirmation for me to turn bearish just yet. It's just very tight for the time being, but I do have that on my radar just to be safe. For the triple Q, I mean, if you look at the triple Q, we formed another divergence, I believe. I think we had a divergence like right here that formed. There is technically one that's present, but it's not that bad. And then on top of this, we're about to get a crossover on the PPO. So like right here, when it happened, you could see we saw the QQQ drop from 371 all the way down to 363, another $8 drop. Same thing could happen again if we do get this crossover, but we need some confirmation first to truly get that. I tried to hold up for a part of today. I am recording this on Friday, by the way, because I'm going to be unavailable for Saturday. But anyways, if it breaks below this 377, we could see more downsides looking a little bit weaker. So it's just worth noting. There's some weakness that is showing right now, even on our stochastic and etc. If it does end up playing out, if 377 breaks, I'm going to be watching this thing come all the way down to the mid 370s and then fill this gap down here around like 373 or so. That is very possible, but we have to watch for confirmation first and see if we truly get that bearish cross on the 4 hour PPO. On Nvda stock, now this one's very interesting to me. We saw a lot of buyers stepping in, a lot of big orders for $500 on the strike for large sweeps. They came out for the next couple of weeks approaching August. So approaching earnings, many of these big investors are expecting Nvidia to hit $500. Now, could it tank first and then try to rebound? Yes, that could most definitely happen because there's no true sign of this thing bouncing just yet. But even if it drops like all the way down to fill some of these gaps in the like 440s, maybe 439 or so, that's fine. It could always rebound as we approach August. It has a lot of upside potential for the medium term. It still has potential. It's still very strong. And on the 4 hour time frame, the trend is still quite decent. On the daily, it looks stronger. You can see on the daily, it's been respecting an uptrend, continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. It is not truly downtrending. A healthy pullback is completely normal, but like I said before, I'm going to be watching for a nice rebound moving forward. Could it bounce here and then try to go for 500 over the next few weeks? That's a possibility. Or it could break down first and then try to bounce later on. That's also another possibility, but the breakdown shouldn't be that bad in my opinion. I think it's going to eventually try to rebound, and I think $500 is very possible before earnings on August 22nd. As of right now, that's the confirmed date, but we'll see what happens until then. AMD is another play that has some potential. I mean, it has these imbalances on the 4 hour time frame. There's one around, it actually pushed up to about 122 earlier. We had this imbalance right here. So it came close to filling the balance around this 118. There's another one all the way up at 125. We also have a nice accumulation structure that is developing from a white coffee standpoint. If it keeps going, right? If we get above this like 116 level, 118 could come, and then 120, 122, if that breaks, is going to push up for that imbalance at 125. 122 is going to be very key though. Could it cool off first with the market? There is a possibility with that if it gets a retest to the 50 at like 114, then just tries to bounce, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. Other than that, I think I'm just going to stop it from here. I'm going to go over a lot more tickers maybe by tomorrow, but I'm just going to try to keep this one short just to let you guys know how things are looking so far. Right now, the market is going to be dictated by big earnings. Earnings are going to play the biggest role. There's not much data dropping for the week until we have the FOMC meeting going into a week and a half from now. So until then, there is a risk of a little bit more downside for the markets. It's a possibility looking at the current trends and considering how earnings may end up playing out. Even if earnings are decent, the market could still sell off just a little bit more just because of like technicals and other factors like that. But Tesla is going to be very different from the market. We have a nice like inverse head and shoulders like structure developing. We actually broke the high we made previously. And regardless of how the market performs, I think Tesla has potential for upside. We reached 285, we could definitely reach 290 at least. I'm going to be looking for 295 or so as we approach Wednesday, if not $300, which I think is very possible. But always remember, Tesla could pump approaching earnings. It most definitely has the potential to do so as volume starts to surge in. But don't forget, it's going to react to earnings after that and doesn't necessarily have to go up or even down. Nothing's guaranteed. It could go in either direction, right? I'm not saying it won't go anywhere. I'm trying to say that it doesn't have to go up. It doesn't have to go down, right? None of those are guaranteed. It depends on what earnings tells us. It depends on how investors react. And that's going to be very, very volatile right after the report comes out. If you're holding options, watch out for IV crush. The implied volatility can have a big effect on the premiums. Even if you get the direction right, you have to be careful with playing options and playing earnings like this. So I just want to make that clear. And with that said, I just thank each and every one of you for listening. All right. So with that said, Tesla to the moon. As long term is still very bright. Thank you and peace out.